MJ is the only fighter in the division that could beat Inoue. And it's like, you've been ordered twice. They know a duck when they see one. This is a duck. And people go, oh, you can't say that about Inoue. It's a duck. Every day they're out there making ducktails. We'll get an exception. Okay, you fight TJ Dehenny. The WBA say you must fight MJ. Let's look at another mandatory instead. No, you've been told you got to fight him. Oh, and I don't think they'll fight him. Nigga, you's a bitch!
Eddie Hearn going in like that on Naoya Inoue, the monster? Is he crazy? He gonna need witness protection on this one. You know, he likes to stress the truth. But I got his back on this one.
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? It's your boy, Dr. PG, NG Unpraised Guy, to get money back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. So as you saw in the intro, man, we just had the press conference with MJ Akhmadaliev going against Ricardo Espinosa this weekend on December 14th in Monte Carlo, you know. And Eddie Hearn, you know, he was asked about Naoya Inoue and MJ Akhmadaliev being his mandatory for the WBA, you know, the World Boxing Association's, you know, sanctioning body. And he had this to say in regards to how he feels about Inoue not fighting Akhmadaliev.
But the reality is, right, is you can't criticize Inoue. MJ is the only fighter in the division that could beat Inoue or could even give him a good fight, a real fight.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit!
And it's like, you've been ordered twice. This is a duck. And people go, oh, you can't say that about Inoue. It's a duck. Every day they're out there making ducktails. The WBA went, this is your mandatory, you got to fight him. Oh, we'll get an exception. Okay, you fight TJ Dehenny.
Yeah, so basically he's saying that he's ducking, you know. He's saying that, you know, MJ Akhmadaliev has been ordered by the WBA before to fight him. And this is true, you know, and Carl Moretti, for the vice president of Top Rank, and Bob Arum have all been very dismissive of MJ Akhmadaliev. You know who else has been too? Naoya Inoue's delusional groupie fans. I'm a fan of Naoya Inoue. He's a monster. I think he's 1, 2, or 3 pound for pound between him, Terence Crawford, and Usyk. They're all interchangeable. Whoever you have at number 1, 2, or 3, it's cool as long as you have those 3 at the top. However, the fact of the matter is he's not fighting MJ Akhmadaliev, and MJ Akhmadaliev is deserving of the fight because being ranked number 1 in a sanctioning body is exactly what that means. When you're ranked number 1, you are the mandatory. Being the mandatory means that you deserve it. That doesn't mean you're gonna get it, but it means that you are deserving.
Look at you scared now, you hoe. Scared like a little white pussy.
So all these delusional, idiotic, simpleton fans that are in denial about MJ Akhmadaliev not deserving the fight, I think you're just stupid. You don't know how boxing works. MJ Akhmadaliev is deserving of the fight. That is true, you know. But people will say, oh no, he doesn't have to fight MJ Akhmadaliev because MJ Akhmadaliev lost to Marlon Tapales, which is true, but he didn't get slaughtered. He lost by split decision. A lot of people had MJ Akhmadaliev winning that fight. That's number 1. Number 2, excuse me, I didn't know that you had to be undefeated in order to fight the great Naoya Inoue. Let's look at his last 2 opponents. Was TJ Dehenny? Yeah, that was his last opponent. Was he undefeated? No, he had losses. In fact, he had 4 of them. And Naoya Inoue was his 5th loss. Let's look at his opponent before that one, in Louis Neary. Was he undefeated? No, he had a loss. In fact, he lost by knockout to Brandon Figueroa. So we debunked that theory right there. So you don't have to be undefeated to fight Naoya Inoue because his last 2 opponents had losses too that were worse than MJ Akhmadaliev. That's number 1. Number 2, let's get into Louis Neary. You know, I understand why he fought him. You know, I'm up to date with my boxing history. You know, I know Louis Neary was Naoya Inoue's opponent because Naoya Inoue wanted to enact revenge for what Louis Neary did to Yamanaka. You know, back in the day, if you keep up with your boxing history, you know, because we do, we're well versed in boxing all over the world, whether it's in America, Nigeria, Japan, or England. It doesn't matter. Mexico, it doesn't matter. We know it. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, Louis Neary was suspended from Japan because Japan and the Japanese Boxing Commission, you know what I'm saying, JBC, they want to make sure that fighters adhere to the rules, you know what I'm saying, unlike America, you know. And if you don't adhere to the rules, if you violate them, you will get punished and reprimanded accordingly, which I love about that, man. I love that. I think all boxing nations should adapt these rules and policies and enforce them to ensure the safety of the fighters, you know, because it's a dangerous sport. But Louis Neary, he beat Yamanaka at 1 time, and then he beat him twice even faster in 2 rounds. You know, the first time he beat him in 4 rounds, knocked him out, and the second time he stopped him in 2 rounds, you know. But it came back that that Louis Neary, you know, he missed weight, you know, and among some other things, you know what I'm saying? They said that he potentially had some, you know, PEDs in his system, you know, and he blamed it on the meat.
No, did he?
Yeah, you know, so he was, you know, subsequently suspended, as he should be. He was banned indefinitely, you know, worse than suspension. He was banned indefinitely from competing in Japan. However, let's fast forward a little bit. Naoya Inoue came around, the monster, and so they uplifted the ban to allow Naoya Inoue to put them paws on Louis Neary and enact revenge for the former champion in Yamanaka, because he was undefeated when he lost to Louis Neary before he retired. You know, he only has 2 losses, and that was both to Louis Neary, who has been suspected and accused and reprimanded for cheating, you know, from missing weight and PEDs. So
we do not let people who are on the juice discuss real athletes. That's all.
That was cool. You know, they lifted the ban and let Naoya Inoue put them paws on him. I'm cool with that. However, he still had a loss. He lost to Brandon Figueroa. And you know who was supposed to be fighting him around that time? Yeah. MJ Akhmadaliev wanted to get that fight next, but he fought TJ Doheny, who had 4 losses, right? As we already covered, right? So this whole notion that MJ Akhmadaliev doesn't deserve the fight, even though he's number 1 in the WBA sanctioned body, has been number 1 in a while. In fact, the WBA wanted him to fight him, but they granted him an exception for him to go and fight, you know, other fighters. Now they're saying, hey man, you need to fight him again, but instead he's fighting Sam Goodman, which is a cool fight because Sam Goodman is ranked number 1 in the WBO and the IBF, right? That means he deserves the fight too. However, there's an order of things, and according to MJ Akhmadaliev's team, according to Eddie Hearn, and according to the WBA, Naoya Inoue is fighting the mandatories out of order. It should be MJ Akhmadaliev's turn. So when they say he's ducking, that's exactly what's going on. That's a duck. You know what I'm saying? A duck is when you don't fight somebody that you're obligated and ordered to fight. Both of which MJ Akhmadaliev satisfies that criteria. You know, so I want to be very clear. I'm cool with him fighting Louis Neary, you know what I'm saying? Because Louis Neary cheated and they let Naoya Inoue enact revenge on Louis Neary, who cheated Yamanaka. If only, you know, us Americans stuck together and we had somebody like the great Terrence Crawford go and get the revenge for when Conor Benn did this to Chris Algieri.
It's been a phenomenal rise. Oh, good one, 2 and he's down.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's wishful thinking, right? So yeah, man, I definitely agree with Eddie Hearn. If you don't believe this, is because you don't pay attention to boxing, or, you know, you're too busy doing other things and satisfying other things. Maybe tending to Naoya Inoue's needs, you know what I'm saying, in a fashion you probably shouldn't.
No, did he?
You know, I just think that, you know, there's boxing rules and regulations and procedures there for a reason. And MJ Akhmadaliev, if you don't think that he deserves a fight, then I think that you're just a dishonest person or you're dumb. You know, it might be a combination of both, you know. But MJ Akhmadaliev definitely deserves a fight. Now, is he going to get it? I don't know. You know, I don't think he's going to get it. And then, you know, this next fight that he has against Espinosa is for an interim belt. And if you know the process of boxing, you know, once you get an interim belt, if those two don't fight, then somebody may get stripped. So, you know what I'm saying? That's just a possibility there, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. You know, why don't you think that MJ Akhmadaliev deserves a fight? And you better come with some conclusive proof and some and some facts other than your freaking feelings, because feelings don't change nothing besides how you feel and your emotions. You know, you look very emotional right now. So, yeah, so I think that MJ Akhmadaliev does deserve the fight, but he has to take care of his fight against Ricardo Espinosa, you know, because if he doesn't do that, then everything goes down the toilet and it doesn't even matter, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how long it's been since then. And Naoya Inoue has to take care of things against the undefeated Australian fighter in Sam Goodman on December 24th. And we'll see if that fight actually happens, but there's been rumors about Naoya Inoue possibly fighting the WBC mandatory in Alan David Picasso Romero, so, you know, or aka David Picasso. So we'll see how it goes, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Don't forget to smack that like button, but most importantly, remember, with God we can do anything, without God we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. You know what I'm saying? Mandatories do deserve a shot at the title. That goes without saying. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.